So let me just talk a little bit about some of the energies and messages I was feeling when I shuffled this out for you, and then we'll go into the spread for this month, okay? Once again, I apologize for doing the reading late for you guys. I was dealing with some things and I needed to have like mental clarity so that I can do the reading justice. So I hope that the information is still helpful and applicable, and it's still relevant to, help you, guide you guys on navigating the energy for June 2018. Okay, and thank you so much for your patience, and thanks for continuing to watch and to follow my videos and my channel. So I really appreciate that. So it's really weird because when I was shuffling, the cards were like all stuck together, and I usually think of that as a sign where as a situation where we can be very, very rigid. And I get that a lot when I do the Aquarius videos, mainly because Aquarius and you guys are both fixed signs. So I get that stuck cards, stuck energy, and the cards refuse to cooperate. And so what I'm picking up is, I feel like this is a month where there are a lot of options that are opening up for you socially, relationship-wise, and work-wise, okay? So I'm getting the message, like plenty of fish in the sea. And yet, being the loyal sign that you are, I feel like you have disregarded, all the opportunities that are hovering around you, circling around you, and you stuck to that person that really, that you're committed to. Okay, so on the same note, it could be, you stuck to the company, you stuck to the work environment that you're loyal to, even though you were being poached by other companies, even though you were promised higher salary, even though you had like an abundance of choices and options that are available to you. And it's because of this sense of innate loyalty that you have to your environment. But also, I feel, being an earth sign and also being a fixed earth sign, it's a double whammy where it takes a lot of changes and a lot of nudging and a lot of spiritual, just like pushing for you to make a move. So it could be, like a double-edged sword where, yes, on the one hand, you are very loyal, but on the other hand, it's like you're slow to move. And so you might miss out on a situation that might even be better. You might miss out on new environments. You're just missing out in general. So it's a double-edged sword. Okay, so what I feel happening is the month of June brings about a lot of changes. It brings about a lot of kind of like end results. So I see this as like an aftermath of a falling out. You don't see the beginning of it. You don't see who said what and, who reacted in what manner. This is just the aftermath. And this denotes to me a falling out between people. A falling out, like too many words have been said and hurtful things have been thrown about. And it's like mutually, from your end to them, you're giving somebody a piece of your mind. And then from them to you, they're giving you a piece of their mind. And the thing to keep in mind is you guys don't say things lightly. That's just the truth. And it takes a lot to get you angry. You guys are like the calmest, the most collected sign of the zodiac. So it takes a lot to push you over the edge and to get you to explode and to get you to say things to purposely hurt another person. So I feel like, there was a threshold and somebody crossed that threshold. So it's like words have been exchanged. This is an aftermath of a falling out, a big argument, and you're turning your back. You're offended. You're hurt. And you're, just PO'd. And I feel, regardless of what happened, this is a very sensitive issue. So I feel like it's a family issue where it's almost like it's a family issue where it needed to be treated with sensitivity. Okay, so it needed to be treated with like kitty gloves. It's sensitive. And a lot of the times with family members, they know how to push our buttons. And so they would say things, and even if they don't have the intention, the tone of their voice and the past history that we've dealt with them, it triggers something in us. So we can imagine, we can like perceived slights, even if they didn't mean it. We can perceive ulterior motives, even if they don't have the ulterior motives. So I feel like it's just a long running battle, and it triggers some emotional responses in you that's very raw. And as a result of it, I feel like there was a major falling out. And it was a situation where the other person absolutely refused to budge. They're so stubborn, they're so rigid. And honestly, Taurus, I feel like it could be you. But either way, one person is so stubborn and rigid and want it to be right and would not compromise and would not bend. Okay, this is sort of like that point. I'd rather be right than I'd rather have you in my life. And so that's very hurtful, right? That's just the bottom line. If somebody refuses to apologize, it's denoting I'd rather be right than I'd rather have you in my life. So I feel like that's the energy that we're coming into the month of June with. And it's a situation where there were a lot of hurt feelings. There were, oh gosh, I feel like it's a tough situation. And you might be dealing with what we have here, an Aries, an Aquarius, an air sign. So, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. So those are the 4 signs that I'm picking up here. And I feel like it's a situation that requires a lot of sensitivity. And I feel as well, there are a lot of things here about femininity and masculinity, about what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, about gender roles, expectations. And the reason I say that is we have this Emperor and the Empress. And whenever they show up in a reading, like the court cards of the same suit, King of Swords, Queen of Swords, it basically denotes to me a situation where it's a very, very good match, but it requires both parties to calibrate and to adjust their rhythm in order to work together. So this is the embodiment of, femininity and masculinity. And it doesn't even matter what gender you date or what gender you are or what gender you identify as, because we all have this energy within us. And when both of these cards fall out with the Emperor in the reverse, it basically means be more nurturing, be more understanding, be softer with your energy. You don't have to be a doormat. You don't have to cater to the other person, but you have to be understanding and loving and, what is that word? Kind, okay? So you might not like another person. You might not even agree with the way they do things, but there is kindness that is required when we're dealing with another human being. This is totally about, being stone cold and being very, very objective to the point where you're not in touch with your emotions, and you might say things that are very harsh. And then this is sort of like the energy, the opposite side of the coin, where you start to understand what it means to care for and love and soften your energy and be a little bit more understanding and, just behaving in a way where you can, I guess, like persuade the other person to see things from your perspective rather than being so dogmatic and being so pushy with your agenda. Okay, so I feel like embodying more of the Libran energy, where you might think they're a little bit too wishy-washy and indecisive and long-winded and so diplomatic and so annoyingly inoffensive. But I feel like there might be some validity to, the things that they do and the way that they behave, and they get what they want without offending anybody. So this is, getting what you want without having to tear somebody apart, without having to scold and scream and, force your way. This is about, it's almost like, using that soft skill to get somebody to come over to your side, to persuade somebody, and to get somebody to see that whatever it is that is your best interest is also their best interest. So we have a big energy here about learning from the past and being a little bit more diplomatic, more understanding, more malleable, and less dogmatic. Okay, so that's what I'm feeling here. I feel as well, with the Emperor and the Empress, and also with this Three of Swords, this might indicate somebody that might have passed on, like some major jolt to the system, some breakdown within the family structure. So somebody is leaving or somebody might have passed away. And I feel as if there are a lot of unfinished business, such as inheritance, such as wills, such as, even like somebody leaving behind a widower, okay? So passing away, leaving behind a widower. And there are issues here about, what do we do now? How do we do the estate planning? How do we divvy up everything? How do we take care of everything? How do we clean up this mess? So I feel like that's also something in the picture that you could potentially deal with. I'm also feeling this is something coming out in the work environment where the head of the department, the head of an institution, the head of an organization left the picture and left a lot of problems in their wake. And then you're the one called upon to kind of deal with things and to try to fix things and get things in order. So you might be interim acting, person while you're dealing with all of this. So I feel like there are a lot of changes here. There are a lot of upheavals. There are a lot of things happening in the work environment, in the home environment, and whatever you consider to be stable, as back in March, whatever you thought was going to be stable, I feel like there is the month is doing this switcheroo on you and you didn't expect it. And so for those of you who have been sending out resumes, we're in June, so 3 months ago. If you have been sending out resumes in the month of March, you're going to be hearing back. And I feel like there will be, recommendations and really good energies here that indicates you're moving on up to something better. So you're definitely upgrading. There will be a few jobs that you might not qualify for, but I feel like either way, you're going to get positive feedback, and then you're moving on up, okay? So positions are opening up, as well as people from your past that can also make recommendations for you, that can vouch for you, for your skills and whatnot, and then you're moving on up. And then for others of you, I feel like there is this heavy energy regarding, once again, third parties, okay? You might be in a relationship where there is children, and the children might be the binding force that keeps you in place with your relationship partner. So financial security reasons, as well as, children keeping you kind of stuck in this holding pattern. And I feel like there might have been flare-ups because your partner might be too rigid, you are too rigid, so there's like some major flare-ups. And I feel like the intimacy is no longer in the relationship. Somebody might be dealing with some health issues, reproductive health, even recover, like general fatigue. So I feel like I feel like, somebody dealing with like very severe fatigue, feeling tired, feeling lethargic, feeling like autoimmune situations, feeling really just under the weather, just out of sorts. And it's something that's chronic. Excuse me. And I feel like because of it, it really dampened the love and the balance in the relationship. And one person feels like they're doing a lot of the work and they're not being helped, or they're not getting that helping hand. And then for others, I just feel like there has been a major falling out here where you're not seeing the love and the affection coming through from your partner. You might be with that Aquarius, the Aries, or the Gemini, or with Libra. So you're no longer seeing their vision. You're no longer in sync with each other ideologically. You're no longer seeing the best in them. They have revealed themselves to kind of like embody a lot of the negative traits of air signs. They're cold, they're distant, they're aloof, and they hold grudges, and they don't forgive easily. So there's a lot of things here about rigidity, and the rigidity is what's causing all the problems. The rigidity, okay? Refusing to compromise, refusing to say you're sorry, refusing to, like when couples get in a fight, right? And this is what I always think, like when a couple gets in a fight and one person starts crying, fight's over. Because it doesn't matter who's right. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. It doesn't matter what we're arguing about. None of that even matters anymore. When one person is crying, they're looking for emotional support. So whoever cries is looking for acceptance and emotional support and love from the other person. So whoever cries first, that's what's going on. They feel unheard. They feel like the other person is not understanding them. They feel frustrated. So all of it gets pent up and they're crying. So it's not about who's right or who's wrong. It's about whoever that's not crying, walking over to the person who's crying and just giving them, a hug, and just drop the conversation and resume at a later date. So this is what I feel happen. You're coming to realize that somebody is very cold and unfeeling, and just, this is not somebody that you thought embody those qualities. But the month of June, this is what's happening. Somebody is very cold. They're not emotionally available, and you're starting to see it for what it is. And you're trying to move away. You're upset, and I feel like, I'm sorry, Taurus, I feel like it is what it is. It is what it is. And so we have like a very vicious cycle here. Turning away, feeling hurt, feeling misunderstood, feeling like the other person can't get us. And then also feeling a lot of resentment towards that person. And then I feel like it's kind of like a cycle that you both find yourselves in, where one person withholds affection. The other person might even withhold, intimacy and sex and things like that. And then the other person retaliates, and by being more distant, possibly even stepping out of a relationship. So it's like one person does this, the other person does this, retaliation. It escalates, and this is the month where things might come boiling over, or it might have already happened in the month of March or the month of May. And then all of this is like residual energy where you're still trying to pick at each other, and it's not a good energy. And I feel that it's hard for you to leave this situation. And I said before, it's a double whammy, being an earth sign and also being a fixed sign. Earth doesn't move unless it's the energy and the force is, exerted from an outside force. So it's like having that major earth rendering, that earthquake. So I feel like there are issues here with rigidity between you and another person that you can't really overcome. And you might even want to compromise, but they're not compromising. So it takes two, and this is a situation where you kind of need to cut your losses. Okay? And then on the other hand, you're coming into something a lot more fruitful and more beautiful. If this is an ex, You've got a new lover that's coming into the picture. This is a very strong soul connection with another person where the person is generous, not only with their love and their affection, but they're generous with their emotions. They're generous about wanting to help you. They're generous about, they don't do the whole tit for tat. They bear all of themselves, and they're okay and comfortable with being vulnerable. And for some of you, you might have a water sign here. This is a Scorpio, a Cancer, or a Pisces. Contrary to this person, this is someone who's very analytical, who thinks with his head, okay? There's no room for error. Everything with this guy, and it could be a female as well, everything with this person, it's black or white, right or wrong. And it's like logical or cerebral. So there isn't any room for warmth, for closeness, for growth, for, cuddling. So this is not a warm, cuddly type of a person. And whatever the situation is, it might have been an Aquarius because they're not known to be warm and cuddly. So that might be the case. You're moving on to a person who is a lot more warmer and more cuddly and more understanding and more willing to open and compromise and things like that. And I feel like some of you, this person makes you feel like this. They make you feel abundant. They make you feel secure because the way that they express their love, they're very generous. So they make you feel confident in the love that you share with each other. So I feel for many of you, you might have recently, you might still be in one relationship and you might be tempted. And I've been seeing this a lot for you guys, Taurus. So I don't know what's going on, but either way, you might be tempted to there's temptation here. You might already be in one relationship and that relationship is heading south, and now you're getting this appreciation from a new person and you want to go ahead with it. Like you want to step out of the relationship, you want to entertain this, you want to pursue this. And I feel like it's not an easy decision. Once again, being an earth sign and being a fixed sign, this is something you have mulled over and you've played through every single scenario in your head. If I cheat, what's going to happen? If the other person finds out, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the kids? Do I want to instill this type of moral belief on the kids? Do I want my coworkers to know? Do I want, it's everything. And I feel like it might be in a work environment where you're meeting this new person and they're really, really, really digging you. Like, they really like you. And I feel like they might have, given you a lot of compliments, a lot of little trinkets, a lot of gifts, a lot of attention. And just imagine if you're coming from this space where you feel like you have, body image issues, where you feel like you've gained weight, and where you feel like unloved and unappreciated, and you feel like, you spend all day cooking or all day working and you come home and the first thing is like an argument. So coming from this space where you feel very unloved and unappreciated and unpretty for whatever reason, Taurus people are really attractive. They dress well and they look good. But this is how you feel internally. And then this person makes you feel like this. So of course, it's very tempting, right? My advice is we shouldn't carry residual energy into new things. So residual past energy should stay in the past. They shouldn't be carried over into new things. And the best rule of thumb in life overall is, let one thing end before you go into another. You shouldn't drag one thing into the future with you because that's going to create a lot of energy interference. And so you have some things that you need to really look at, okay? And I also feel as well, there are some issues here when it comes to family secrets, okay? Family secrets coming out, having like step brothers or step siblings that you don't know about. and it might come into the picture. So I feel that. And the Emperor and the Empress is heavily about ancestral energies. It's heavily about, the family unit, and especially that the mother, father, grandfather, and things like that, and especially things that are hidden, secrets that are hidden, or things that were kept under the cover of darkness because of stigma, because of reputation, because of things. So there are huge things here about fertility as well. Fertility that might have been hidden, okay? So you've got a lot of intrigue in this spread, and I find it very, very interesting. And, once again, I hope the reading is still helpful and relevant for you guys. For those of you Taurus moon people, I feel like you're dealing with this energy a lot heavier than the Taurus sun. I feel like with Taurus sun, it might be happening around you. It might be happening to, family members and people that are circling around you. But the Taurus moon people, you're dealing with this. Either a falling out, a major breakup, a situation where someone stopped communicating with you, and you're trying to pick up the pieces and you're trying to move on, and you have new people that are going to be coming into the picture. And I also feel like this is a work situation where you're being offered something. You're being offered a position that is going to allow you to shine and to really excel, okay? On the work front, there's a lot of attraction. There's a lot of temptation. There's a lot of attraction. Be very, very careful about gossip, okay? Be very, very, very careful about gossip. So, what's going on here? I have a very strong air sign here. So this is Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And, it showed up before as the King of Swords in the reverse. And now the same energy is also in the reverse. So if you're dealing with an air sign, there are a lot of demands that they're placing upon you. And I also see this as, the Nine of Swords as somebody who's dealing with health issues, who's dealing with depression, who's like almost borderline depression. And I also feel guilt associated with this, okay? Guilt associated with the Nine of Swords. So either somebody's feeling guilty, you're feeling guilty for something that transpired, and they're interrogating you, or they're coming at you in a very antagonistic manner. So when it's in the reverse, they're not always the bad people, but it can be that they bring the energy of the negative, traits of the air signs, which is they're very cold, very distant, very antagonistic, and they're really, really like they know how to cut to the chase. They know how to get to the point, and the things that they say can be very demeaning and hurtful. And I feel like ultimatums, big, big, big ultimatums coming into the picture. Are you with me, or you're not with me? Are you going to leave your wife? Are you going to leave your husband? Are you going to leave your spouse? Or are you not? So big ultimatums that somebody's throwing at you. And I feel like you need to take a stance, own your territory, defend your territory, but do it in a soft manner. So don't retaliate, this sense of antagonism. Don't be like this couple. Don't be like these two people, where one person, antagonizes, the other person retaliates, and then things just descend into chaos. I feel like out of respect, usually out of respect for what you shared in the past, this sweet, emotion that started it all, because every relationship ended in a really great manner, right? Like it always had a really good start, I feel. So out of respect for what you had, and even out of respect for the children, out of respect for whatever the situation might be, aim to not, escalate the situation, and aim to bend a little bit, aim to be more understanding and to see where the other person's coming from, and to arrive at that space where you're making decisions. If you're a male as well, okay, rather than making a decision from this space where I'm right, I'm putting my foot down, and I'm not listening to you. Aim to be more tolerant, more understanding, and soften your energy a little bit. I hope the reading has been helpful for you guys. I'm kind of worried. I hope that, the energy is. I hope that the energy doesn't permeate the entire month. That's what I'm hoping for. So let me just see. What is this? Is this in love or is this in work? Okay, for this King of Swords, he kind of scares me a little bit. So it is a work energy. Oh, okay. So work energy, Page of Pentacles and Ten of Swords. This might be a boss, a supervisor, somebody that's managing you, and they feel like you might be a little bit frivolous. They might not be 100% happy with your performance. So make sure you try your best to, put your best foot forward with this person. So Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. This is kind of like a stern, authoritarian energy. Like somebody who wants to discipline you, somebody who's not happy with the way that you do things for whatever reason. And so I feel like it's happened before and it's making a comeback. So be very, very careful. Be where you're supposed to be. Do what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, this person will really be on your case. They're usually very good when people, are where they're supposed to be and follow directions and things like that. So that's something you want to be a little bit careful about, okay? So best of luck with everything, all right, Taurus, and take care of yourself. Have a wonderful rest of the month.